Please move. You're standing in the path of the press and quite frankly, you're cluttering the family gallery. The insult was punctuated by a sharp, physical dismissal. Isabella Drax, the heiress to a century-old shipping dynasty, didn't just use her words to belittle, she used her hands. As the gala guests gathered under the crystal chandeliers of the classic Drax estate, Isabella lunged forward. She planted both palms against the shoulders of Cyrus Sterling, shoving him backward with a violent, unprovoked force that nearly sent him into a display of Qing dynasty porcelain. Cyrus didn't stumble. He caught his weight, his expression remaining as unreadable as obsidian. He looked down at the handprints on his charcoal cashmere tailored suit, then back at Isabella. He stood like a pillar of granite amidst the swirling silk and predatory smiles of the socialites. "Isabella," Cyrus said, his voice a low, vibrating hum that seemed to kill the ambient music in the gallery. "This is a public auction for the city's historical society. I suggest you remember the company you're keeping." "I know exactly who I'm keeping company with," Isabella sneered, stepping into Cyrus's personal space. She didn't stop at the shove. She reached out and aggressively flicked the gold leaf catalog out of Cyrus's hand, watching it hit the marble floor. "I see a nobody who thinks a high-limit credit card grants him access to a lineage he could never understand. My family built this empire before your ancestors even had a name. Now, find the service exit before I have security process you for vagrancy." Around them, the elite, guests in vibrant sapphire blue gowns, mustard yellow linen blazers, and deep emerald green trench coats, froze. The woman in the sapphire dress let out a sharp, mocking titter into her champagne flute, while the man in the emerald blazer turned his back, effectively erasing Cyrus from the room. The atmosphere was thick with the scent of old money arrogance and a total lack of awareness. Cyrus reached into his pocket and pulled out a slim black encrypted device. He didn't look at Isabella. He looked at the massive portrait of her great-grandfather hanging above the fireplace. "You talk about your legacy as if it's carved in stone, Isabella," Cyrus whispered. "But stone can be crushed, and legacy can be liquidated." He tapped a single command on the screen. "Execute Clause 8.3. Total credit recall on the Drax Trust. Trigger the hostile acquisition of the holding parent. I want the deed to this house on my desk by midnight. Thanks for the support, we couldn't do this without you. Subscribe for free to help us keep bringing you more stories. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments. Now back to the story. The high society auction came to a grinding halt at exactly 10:17 p.m. It wasn't the sound of the gavel that ended it, but the synchronized, jarring vibration of every smartphone in the classic gallery. Isabella Drax's face, previously flushed with the heat of her own arrogance, turned a sickly, translucent gray as she glanced at her device. A notice of immediate asset forfeiture blinked in a relentless, crimson pulse. "What is this?" she screamed, looking toward the auctioneer. "Why are the screens freezing?" The heavy mahogany doors at the back of the hall burst open. Arthur Vane, the family's lead counsel, stumbled into the room, his tie askew and his face drenched in a cold, panicked sweat. He didn't look at the socialites in their mustard and sapphire finery. He ran straight to Cyrus Sterling and dropped a heavy leather-bound briefcase onto the marble. "Cyrus, stop it, please," Arthur gasped. "The bank's just received the execution of default notice. The Sterling Fund just bought the Drax consolidated debt for pennies on the dollar. You can't liquidate the trust, it's a century of history." Cyrus straightened the lapels of his charcoal suit, his expression as cold and final as a tombstone. "Clause 8.3 of the primary lending agreement, Arthur. The reputational liability trigger. It explicitly states that any physical battery or public defamation of the lender by the primary beneficiaries results in an immediate, zero-hour acceleration of all outstanding liabilities. Your client didn't just insult me, Arthur." She laid hands on the man who owns her mortgage. Isabella stood frozen under the massive crystal chandeliers, her hands trembling so violently that her champagne flute shattered on the floor. You can't buy a legacy. It's not for sale." "Everything is for sale when the owner is bankrupt," Cyrus said, his voice a surgical strike that cut through the silence of the room. "And as of 3 minutes ago, Isabella, the Drax name is a subsidiary of Sterling Global. This house, the shipping lines, the art on these walls, it all belongs to me. Including the portrait of your great-grandfather you're so fond of." The realization hit the room like a physical shock. The woman in the sapphire gown, who had been laughing at Cyrus moments ago, suddenly turned her back on Isabella, already scrolling through her phone to find a new social circle. The man in the emerald blazer stepped away from the Drax family as if they were radioactive. "I'm turning this estate into a public library and a workspace for the youth you find so obstructive," Cyrus announced, his voice echoing through the gallery. "You have until dawn to clear your personal effects. Leave the Qing porcelain. It's part of the new inventory." The handshake collapse was absolute. Isabella Drax didn't leave with her dignity. She left with a security escort, walking past the brass-trimmed doors for the last time as the Sterling Global logo flickered onto every screen in the mansion. Because power doesn't need to roar. It just needs to walk away. If you believe that character is the only true inheritance, like this video and share it. Tell us in the comments, would you have let her keep the family portrait? Subscribe now for more stories of unstoppable dignity.